Hang on. Okay, Ryan Howsam.
So with Ryan, he's an absolute golf nut. He literally is obsessed.
I never really switch off unless I'm playing golf.
I've been his coach for the last couple of years, and he's hard work, but he's so passionate.
Sometimes looks more serious on the range than some of the pros.
But I don't feel like I'm completing the swing at all. It feels like I'm sort of stuck at the end.
Don't think about it, mate. Just fucking go. Just think about that, and it will happen.
Okay.
For fuck's sake. What Ryan brings to the table is passion.
I think he's a very driven, a very focused person, and when he gets something in his sight lines, he's going for it.
He's a tour player in terms of his passion for the game. He works like stink at it. It drives him to despair.
I'll pick up the fucking phone and I'll do the deal. When I say I'm going to do it, I will do it. If you contact me, I promise you I'll do it.
I see that same characteristic in the top players in the game. You know, when they get something in their sight lines, they're obsessed about it and they're going to drive to success.
He's ruthless, and that's why he's so successful.
Successful people never sit still, do they? They always look for something else, and that's Ryan.
His energy is just incredible. It's all or nothing.
His mind is he jumps around too much.
He also runs at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
He's a maverick. He's a maverick.
I love him. I mean, he's one of my mates. Like, we're just planning his stag weekend last night, so it's one of those things where I've gotten very, very close to Ryan.
Ryan's become a good friend of ours, and we support him 100%. And I like his vision.
He's always looking, always searching. For me, that's golf. That's an addiction, and that desire to be better.
Fucking again.
His passion is undeniable for this sport, and without that passion, I don't think we would be here.
Well, he's our saviour, really. I'm not sure where we would be without Ryan.
He's been fantastic for the Legends Tour and helped its growth over the last years.
So we're very, very lucky to have guys like Ryan Howsam on board.
We hope he's here for a long time to stay. He's very popular with the players, and we really appreciate the work that he's done.
I don't know, he just drives me up the wall. Oh my God, drives me crazy.
So I was born in Sheffield, a place called Longley, which was quite a rough council area. I think my earliest memory was being dropped off at school by my mother and being frightened to death and hugging her, and you know, sort of, I can remember crying going into school and not wanting to be there.
So school was never for you?
Honestly, I never really liked school.
Why was that?
Why didn't I like school? It's hard to put my finger on why I didn't really like school, but I have to try and articulate that. It's a little bit difficult. When I was a young lad, I remember reading all the various books, but particularly there was the Richard Branson, and I thought I was one of those people. First of all, I left home when I was 14. I got up all my stuff and put it on my back, put in like a big bag, and then I went to my grandmother's. So it wasn't that far, it was like 2-3 miles away. I'll take you back a little bit earlier than that. So when I was 6, my parents sat me down and told me that my dad wasn't my dad. That's quite an interesting thing to hear when you're 6 years old. And my parents told me not to tell my sisters that I wasn't their brother. So they didn't find out until they were in their 20s that I wasn't their full brother. My mother, Marilyn, has always been super supportive and really loving. And she's been pretty much behind everything that I've done. But my father, well, he was hard work. He wasn't physically violent, but he was mentally quite torturous. There was something with that where he kept telling me I was useless. Every time I failed, my dad would say to me, "You're a failure." And it was continuous, even into my 30s when I failed again and didn't get there. You know, he just kept ribbing at it. Him and I get on fine, and no, he's now sings my praises, but it's a bit hollow, really. But you know, at the end of the day, he is my dad as far as I know. So, and you know, that probably sounds quite harsh, but he, you know, he did feed and clothe me, look after me, and he worked really, really hard. You know, he was a joiner. He was always doing jobs after that. he drove a cab. I mean, literally he's working like 3-4 jobs. So I think there was always that element in me, and I'm pretty sure I can thank him for that. And that, you know, when you're pushed like that, I think you can go two ways. You can break, or you can make you stronger. And Tony Robbins has a line, which is adversity makes you stronger. And I have a lot to thank him for that.
Well, I suppose at that age I was watching the players. You know, I suppose in those days it was Ballesteros, it was Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus, I think, was perhaps my favourite golfer that I watched in that era. And then seeing some of the players that are alongside now, like, you know, Woosnam and so on. You know, watching those growing up and dreaming about being one of those was really what, you know, what I wanted to be. And in fact, I can remember that the club captain came to my parents' house and said to my parents, "We think that your son could be a professional." And I remember my dad saying, "Well, he's too clumsy, he'll never be a professional." He'd never even watched me play golf, actually. Go on, you. Damn. You know, I could have gone down the assistant pro route, and I mean, I'm not saying I was one of the most talented golfers at that age. I'm sure I wasn't, but you see people like Poulter with the right mental attitude who came up through, you know, those assistant pro routes and they managed to do it. So I'm pretty sure I could have been an assistant pro and had some type of career in golf.
I mean, Campbell will tell you, when I'm playing well, I'm really quite good.
Oh yeah, mate. How good's that? Look at that, mate. That's fucking gone wild.
I played quite a few sports at school, football, basketball. You know, I was okay at all of those. And then my cousin came along one day and said, did I want to go down to the local municipal and play golf? So we went, it was a place called Concord Park in Sheffield, and I went down there, and I think from that moment I got hooked. And then from the age of sort of 13, 14, all the way through to 16, 17, you know, I was out in the cold, rain, snow, whenever it was, practicing as much as I could. And I ended up leaving school. I did A-levels for a year. And I remember at the time, my geography A-level, and I can remember I had one half side of an A4 foolscap piece of paper for my whole project. And the school basically said to me, look, if you want to play golf, you should go and play golf or knuckle down for the next year. And I said, okay, well then I'm going to leave. And that's how I got into business. Business didn't really start in my brain until I was 17. I got off the dole. I think I've been on for a few weeks, and I found a job which was knocking on doors for double glazing. And that was the start of my business career. And at that point, knocking on doors for double glazing, I can tell you it's quite hard, because you'd knock on the night and then a closer would go on the night and they would sell. And that was the high-pressured environment that I sort of grew up in business to start with. And, you know, seeing the people do quite well there, I mean, at such a young age, I was sort of 17. There were young guys, maybe early 20s, driving at that point, I think the 2.3 gear, or maybe even the 2.8 injection Capri had come out then. And I thought, wow, you know, I can do quite well here. And then I moved on from that, and I became a closer. But I was too young. They said I was too young to actually sell, and they wouldn't give me a team of canvassers. So I used to go out, and then I'd knock the doors myself, and then I would go back and I'd sell it on the night. So, you know, that was, I think, the resilience that I got at that point. But what I did different to, I think, most of the people, is that I learned back to front, upside down, inside out, all of the techniques around selling, and I just became better because of the effort that I put in.
Well, we've got to talk about the property deal here.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is Thomas's bag as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
So Thomas, you're the
Co-owner? Co-owner, yeah.
Great. I'm Ryan, by the way. Nice to meet you.
I think Ryan is great at seeing an opportunity and how can he own a space. Whatever it is, whether it's insurance, anything, he'll see an opportunity and think, right, what is my strategy to own that space? And he'll double down on success. So yeah, I mean, he's got a natural talent for business acumen.
In the short time I've known him, I've seen him be involved with businesses that have failed and gone the wrong way, and he's made the wrong moves. Sometimes he gets into things he doesn't fully understand, tries to get, and it's the same with golf. He's come in and he wanted to do things, and he just hasn't understood how it's going to be delivered, what's feasible. So we have to keep him real on that front, which is a really tough job. In the recent years, Phil's been the only one who's been able to get and say, Ryan, stop. That is a bad idea, it's a wrong idea.
I helped him to broker the deal with the European Tour group, or the Seniors Tour, to be the title sponsor. And then typical Ryan said, actually, I'd like to own this or get majority shareholding. I think I can take this somewhere, and he will make it work because he's so successful, he's so driven, and he's got some great ideas, too many ideas sometimes, so we have to kind of curb that. But he wears his heart on his sleeve, and you always know he's thinking.
There's a lot of times he doesn't listen, and if you do object or criticise, he will just drive him, that will drive him on further to try and succeed.
So it's not that hard, is it, making me a cup of tea?
Define Ryan.
Do you want me to leave?
No. Passionate about business.
You don't have to be nice.
About business. Clever, very smart. He's the chaos, I'm the calm. So I think that's why we work, don't we? Made with love.
They called me Bond and you Jinx for some reason, and somehow it stuck. I can't call her. I can't call her.
He struggles.
All my friends think she's called Jinx. It's bizarre, really.
How did you first meet?
We both met in London, Groucho Club.
Yeah?
Yeah. 10 years.
The first time?
Yeah, I was top to toe super well dressed, wasn't I? Well, she used to have long curly hair. It's like, and jeans, and didn't really
make an effort.
Didn't make an effort,
no,
did you? In
I
fact,
actually wasn't. I actually wasn't going to come.
You?
And my friend Nina said, "No, you've got to go." And I was just jeans and a t-shirt. She was like, "But you're going home to get changed, aren't you?" I was like, "No, I'm just going to go." So he was suited and booted, and I rocked up in a pair of jeans.
Which is unusual for the Groucho Club, actually, because normally it's a bit of an arty place. Yeah, that was the night we met. I wasn't playing hard to get. No,
you were you were always on a golf course.
Yeah, she didn't think I worked.
I didn't think you worked.
And now?
And now you, since COVID, you have not stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all work and no play.
Is there a difference between like business Ryan and at home Ryan?
No, not really. Business just overtakes everything, doesn't it really?
It bothers you, doesn't it?
To some degree, yeah, he doesn't switch off. The only time he switches off is playing golf, surprisingly enough. His brain is constantly on the go.
Quick one before we carry on. How many businesses have you owned?
Oh my God. I've missed out loads. I've missed out a lot. I don't know, if I was to give you a number of the businesses that I've owned or been involved in, it's in the, 20, 30, I don't know. I moved here in 2004, so my daughter went to school here. So I've been backwards and forwards here. So it's not so much reaping the rewards, I just found a way of making it work. In fact, I actually started Staysure here. I came here to Marbella with my partner who's French and my daughter who was 3.5, 4. And I literally had no money. I literally couldn't put petrol in the car. And there was a guy living not far away who used to be my boss from before. And he got some cash, and I said to him, look, you can invest in Staysure, which I'd literally, it was a name, right? And this thing, which was a hotel broking business. And I said, I'll give you half of each for 20 grand each. And he said, okay. So I went back the next day, and he said, I don't want to do that Staysure thing. I said, well, I'm going to do it. So Staysure is a travel insurer. So I was the first with travel insurance. I suppose not the first to segment to age, because Saga had done that, but I was the first to take travel insurance and focus on the medical conditions of the customer and put that front and centre of the proposition. You know, and from doing that, it just really took off, and we became, you know, quite quickly the market leader in that area, and we've built that up from where it is there now to, I think, about $500 million of a turnover, and by far the largest travel insurer in the UK. What I'm good at doing is finding a space in the market that people don't own. So travel insurance, you know, it's a commodity, but nobody owns that medical space. You know, these are higher priced policies, which means you've got more money when you sell to a customer to then spend on marketing. And all I did was spend more than anybody else.
How many years is it? 4 or 5 now? It feels like forever.
I was
a sponsor. He was very excited about being the sponsor.
Your memory's really
I
good.
remember you playing with Montgomery. I think that's the one really stuck in my mind. He was so excited
Oh, the
and
London one?
nervous, yeah. I think that's when I really realised how much he really loves this. And then I think you started talking about how you could probably take ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I took over, the senior tour has a connotation of quite old people, right? So it made sense to me to try and get a name that sort of portrayed what these are, and they are legends of the game. And I was fortunate enough to be able to buy that, you know, the domain Legends Tour. So I just rebranded to that because it made a lot of sense. And, you know, if I can sort of keep Staysure in there, promote it, not have it as title, and do it for less than what I've been paying in sponsorship, I've sort of got ownership for sponsorship money, right? That was the move. I think the untapped commercial potential is really, really simple. The mature market is where all the money is not all the money in golf, but if you think about the consumers that are spending the money, they are predominantly over 50. Yeah, there's a lot of money there. And it's not just in golf, actually. The mature audience is very underserved globally. So there's an opportunity to tie these things together. It is a match made in heaven. It's a hard one, as you no doubt you're finding out. But if you think about who I grew up watching, and think that I watch the likes of a Woosnam, and even a Campbell, who's now a really good mate, and Seve Ballesteros and all those people, Montgomery, you grow up in and around watching them. They're only a few years older, but I don't think you realise at that age how close you are in age to them. You grow up watching them, and then you end up playing alongside them and owning the system that they play in. So it's not quite being a professional golfer, but it's quite satisfying.
In fact, this is really the opportunity with the tour, was that until I came along, it was all the money goes to the players, and you understand that because it's about prize monies, but they weren't really getting enough money in to drive those prize monies to the level that perhaps those players deserved. So I saw a way of looking at the golf ecosystem to do it in a different way. But it is really hard when you've got a players' organisation or a members' organisation, which is not what we are as a business, but we have to work within the realms of those members. So what you've got is a lot of players who you're trying to please whilst building a business that is probably very different to anything that they've been used to or involved in.
For the guys who are coming off the tour, who spend all their life on tour, they've got something to play for, and that's brilliant, and that's what it's all about.
I think senior golf's great, really, because you've got another career once your first career started.
You might think we are well over 50 and we might take things a little bit easy, but it's not the case.
With newcomers coming through every year, the 50s, there's a new breed of guys coming through. PGA Tour players, DP World players, European Tour players of the past, Aussie Tour players, Asian Tour players, they're all wanting to play in the Legends Tour. It's great.
Obviously, I'm going to spread the word that it's a great tour, and if this is any indication of the Legends Tour, I think the word's going to spread pretty fast.
I played 28 years on the DP World. I was fortunate enough to play up to my 50th birthday, and it was just a natural progression. It's just been nice to know that you can compete again.
It's up and down like most golf. It's not like the full swing where you see the guys going off in their jets and helicopters, is it?
When I go to a seniors event, it's like, I think everybody can relate to going back to school reunions. Well, it's a little bit like that. That's the feeling when you come out on tour. These are all your friends. We're all a bit older and a bit greyer and a bit balder, but a little bit more weight, but it's still the same guys. And it's a great tour. It's something I always look forward to doing.
There's probably more golfers between 50 and 80 than there are younger, which is a shame in many ways, but that's the demographic of it. And the support we get out here are people that I've grown up with, have watched me play in the Ryder Cups and watched me play in European competitions. and it's great. We're the same age. We can relate to each other. I think the Legends Tour, you know, can only grow from strength to strength.
People that have been right at the top of the game are still the same. When that ball is teed up, they all want to do their ultimate best, and that never leaves anybody, I don't think.
You know, 63 next month, I still have that desire and that competitive edge to win.
I love being out, being with my mates, playing golf course. It's frustrating sometimes, but it must mean I still care, really.
Everybody here works really hard and takes it very seriously, and in order to be competitive, you know, you have to play really, really well.
We're so lucky that we have a second bite at it. You know, not any other sport, if I played football or cricket, I would have retired 20 years ago.
But at golf, here we are still being competitive. It's great.
For us, it's fantastic because it keeps us busy. It gives us an excuse to keep on practicing.
We're here playing golf, but also it's important to send a message to everyone else who wants to play golf that it is possible to play golf.
It's a way of keeping going. It's such a good sport. You know, golf, it's been proven, can sort of give you extra years in life. It can give you longevity in life. So, and doing that and getting paid for it is just, you're just one of the lucky ones.
Hi, Campbell.
Hey, mate.
How you doing?
Welcome back to the
Don't
man
do that.
cave.
I've got this problem again.
Welcome back to the man cave.
Yeah.
Where all the magic happens here.
Yeah, go on.
Doesn't it?
Other than me.
Other than you.
I watched Michael Campbell come down the stretch and beat Tiger Woods for the 2005 US Open. So, I mean, back then, imagining that he's going to be my coach in the future, that's pretty, you know, it doesn't get much better, does it?
See, the thing about Ryan, for example, is that I've been seeing him now for like 2 years, right? 2 years?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
The thing about
Michael.
Ryan... Huh?
Have I got any better though? That's the thing, isn't it?
He got better, yes. But the thing with him, he goes back home, watches YouTube, Instagram.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. I told you off many times, didn't I?
Yeah, but...
You're getting better now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I was going to tell you something.
So here we go, another theory.
No,
See, with you, mate, less is more. Ryan drives me absolute nuts when he comes at every start of the session of a lesson. He goes, "Oh, Michael, I saw this thing on YouTube last night." It just drives me crazy.
The timing thing that you gave me, right? I'm just trying to understand, with that timing, how do you get into position? I think one of the biggest problems with me is just the tempo, getting the tempo right out there. Because the technique is, you know, most of the time it's okay. And it was brilliant. And then I tried to do that yesterday.
Sorry?
Yeah, so Campbell gets really frustrated with me when I see this stuff on YouTube and different coaches and so on. He's like, "Oh, not again, just stick with what you know." But I do it most of the time just to wind him up.
No, you're not all right. No,
Very fucking funny.
You're fine.
You're fine. I'm not that bad. That's balls of shit.
Ryan wants to be one of us, you know, and which I totally understand. If you have a passion for something and you want it so much, it is possible.
I've got the Senior Open qualifying. What do you think my chances are?
Ryan, I believe in you.
Do you really? But not... Sorry. I'm going for the Senior Open. What do you think? Don't laugh.
Look, I admire your passion for the game. I admire what you do for the Legends Tour.
Do you know what
let me finish, please.
Go on then.
Could you ask the question, right?
Go on then.
So you always cut me off.
I'm going for the Senior Open. What do you think?
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
It's not that funny.
No, as I said before, you know, you're very passionate about the game, and I think if you play well, if you have your A game there on that day, those 2 days, you'll definitely qualify.
I mean, I could have done just by almost just doing that cut, you know, more outside cut like that.
Just do that.
Right.
So it gets too serious when it comes to the lessons.
I can't. I'm trying to get better. If you come to me for some business advice and I talk about other stuff, it's not going to help, is it?
No, that's true.
I do ask your opinion about a lot of things.
Yeah, But you need a sounding board, don't you? You need to talk. You just need to talk and talk to somebody.
Yeah, because I think that's because if you think about all the businesses, you know, if you've got a business partner, you can talk about things, but then I've never done partners very well in business, so having Jinx so I can talk things through with her, it does really help.
Yeah, I think so.
And she's on the money quite a lot, actually.
I've learnt everything from you.
No, but you are. I mean, the amount of times you'll tell me stuff and then you'll tell me I told you so. About people. She's a very good reader of people.
Seniors golf is a tough business, and you know, trying to drive and increase the business model is not easy. So when you get an opportunity, that's got to take precedence over what may be seen as justified or fair.
When you've had a successful model, you don't want to change, but Ryan's come on and he's seen opportunities, and he's, through us, he's tried to change things, and some things have worked, some things haven't, but you know, we owe a lot to Ryan.
This is all kind of new ground and new territory, and very much broken by Ryan in terms of getting into new areas and new engagements. And some people are going to, you know, lose out on that, and I get that. I understand where they're coming from, but the business model, without the business model, you know, there's going to be no seniors golf, so that's got to be the #1 priority.
I mean, there's a lot of good things these guys are doing, but when I hear things like that, it fucking winds me up.
No, some really good people there.
I know we've got some really good people, you know, but it's frustrating.
And we've had to make some difficult decisions. There's no getting away from that. We've changed a few things.
And it would have been very easy for us in leadership positions to just do the same thing.
But we know that doing the same thing was not an option. So very difficult conversations with Ryan
and looking inwardly at ourselves, are we doing the right thing? And where do we need to take the tour, and crucially, how are we going to get there?
The changes it's made is obviously the prize money. The prize money's gone up from, was it 3.54 million? It's now up to 8.5, and that's purely because of Ryan.
He brought a slightly different angle to it. But one thing that I really did like about Ryan was his ambition for the project. I could just sense his hunger for it.
He's also got a full new team within the tour as well. So if you look at where the tour was 4 years ago,
we've now much better structured in terms of we know our accountabilities, and within the teams that sit under those people, there's a good structure and a good accountability in place.
The commercial and the marketing side of the business really needed an overhaul and a real robust plan behind it.
Brand awareness was next to nothing. It was still known as the Seniors Tour. It was the baby brother, or you know, the older sibling, let's say, of the DP. We're now making changes to become not a standalone tour, but just a bigger voice within that family. The brand awareness has jumped up massively. Follower growth is massive. And it's purely down to the trust that Ryan puts into this new team.
Normally, I'm trying to get to as fast as I can to a point where it's making money. I have made a few mistakes with this, but I've not moved people on fast enough. And even now, there are some people that let me down, that, you know, I'm re-engineering again, because you can't grow any business properly if you are so hands-on that other people can't do their job, because then you just can't grow, right? But the flip side of that is the people that you have to do those jobs have got to be really, really good. And I've made the mistake of letting people who aren't good enough stay longer than they should. I'm really ruthless, but I've been a bit slow with this. If I'm really honest, I've not been as quick and hard as I normally am. When I took over initially, I was given a couple of people that were commercial, and they desperately let me down in the first year or two.
I thought he'd probably be retiring and taking it a bit more easier, and he's gone the opposite. You know, haven't you? Taken on so much. You know, there's times when he wakes me up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning with an idea, goes downstairs, grabs a coffee and says, let's talk. Yeah.
We did it this morning, didn't we?
Yep.
The Legends Tour is on the right path. Ryan is so out there. He's one of those entrepreneurs who likes to make big changes, and I think he realises he can't make the big steps so quickly.
He expects more from the tour. You know, his expectations of the players, how they conduct themselves, where we have tournaments, the calibre of golf courses that we play at. He just wants to elevate this tour as much as he can.
It is a traditional rights holder. He has to appreciate that, and if he can, and if he can get that thought process into his plans, it could be a real success. Whenever I pitch to potential new promoters, tourism boards, etc., it's always, we've got the entrepreneurial spirit of Ryan, we've got the traditional world-class delivery of the tour group, put those two together and we can make really big things happen.
There's very much a speculate to accumulate approach with this. You know, he's putting a lot of money in up front. We're getting to the place now where we can make it sustainable, but he's had to really invest in the first few years. And as I said, he really cares about the tour.
What do you think his dream ambition for the Legends Tour is?
To grow it, to get it out there more, and to ultimately, I think it's to really look after the players. You know, I think that's where his caring side actually comes in.
Being told that, you know, this is a hard gig and you're not going to get it there, to actually show to those players that we've delivered something way beyond what they would expect, that would be the proudest moment for me.
The biggest challenge is the future of the game in terms of the political elements, PGA Tour, DP World European Tour Group, LIV, PIF. We get the ripples of that, so we do feel those effects. And we just don't know what's going to happen in the next 6, 12, 18 months.
Our biggest threat is not moving with the times and not modernising a well-established tour.
And Ryan's keen on Senior Ryder Cup.
Yes.
A Senior Ryder Cup is needed.
Senior Ryder Cup would be a game changer.
You've got to do a Ryder Cup. You've got to do a Senior Ryder Cup with this.
It has to be one of our events that it can drive so much for us, like a Ryder Cup does for the DP World Tour.
And it's something that Ryan feels will be a catalyst to really elevate the profile of our tour.
Because I think it's the single biggest thing we can do in senior golf.
If you can pick out all the best names of Ryder Cup over the last 20, 30 years, you could have a really, really compelling product. There's a Junior Ryder Cup, there's obviously the main Ryder Cup, but you know, why isn't there a Senior Ryder Cup?
And what the beauty of having a Senior Ryder Cup is, a lot of these famous shots are from players on our tour. So it makes total sense for them to back up what they've done previously. And, you know, speaking to the players, they're all over it.
I think the appetite from the players is absolutely there. Players are pushing us for it as well.
I'd love to see a Senior Ryder Cup, absolutely. There's so many characters out here, household names, the likes of Jimenez and Harrington and Darren Clark, certainly from our side.
If we could bring it together, I think it would be a really popular event.
Certainly, guys, plenty ex-captains and ex-players out here that I'm sure if you ask those guys, they would love another crack at feeling that they had when they were younger. I think there's a place for it, 100%.
I think the Ryder Cup is very special, very unique.
I think it would be great to put another cocktail into the ingredients of what the Ryder Cup is.
It will definitely work. So I think we're now determined to make it happen. So it will. Watch this space.
I think the audiences would absolutely engage with this, and I'm sure if you speak to all the players, they would love to play on a Senior Ryder Cup. And just to be clear, we can't use the name Ryder Cup, which I think is a shame. You imagine it's called Senior Ryder Cup, that would really work. But the PGA of the UK own part of the Ryder Cup, so do DP World and so do the PGA of America. But most people in those organisations believe that if you had a Senior Ryder Cup, it would dilute the Ryder Cup itself. And that's what I'm up against. Now, we have got a little bit of a problem with this, which is there's something that's just launched. It's had 2 tournaments so far called the Champions Cup, and it's like 3 teams of 6. It's nothing like a Ryder Cup. So there's a bit of a battle on as to how we get through to get that there. Obviously, Ryder Cup, we'd love to have it called the Senior Ryder Cup, but getting them over, on board with that is, I think, not going to happen. So we're now going to, we're just going to go out there, we're going to announce it, we're going to get a week, we're going to put pressure on DP World, who are, in fairness, working with me. We're going to put pressure on Champions to make sure that, 2028, we are hosting this thing. I think the tour in relation to my overall vision is about 30 or 40%
in real terms, because I've got to build out this ecosystem where the income is, and then I'm trying to do a few moves so that I've got the best players in the world here, so not just on the Champions Tour. I'd like to think that by the time I'm 65, and I'm 60 next year, so by the time I'm 65, I've got 15 to 20 tournaments. The guys are playing for between 20 and 30 million. They've got some of the best players in addition to the ones we've already got playing. We've got a senior Ryder Cup there, and we've got an ecosystem with 100 or 200 million of revenues coming in from other things that aren't the tour. Yeah, I will do.
He's never going to stop. That is the long-term plan. He won't stop. No, and he can't. I mean, you hear about people retiring and then they fall over and die.
No.
So Ryan's got to carry on forever. He's going to live forever,
Yeah.
aren't you? 120 at the moment, we're saying?
I don't think I ever reflect on what I've done, because it never feels like it's finished. Things can just go wrong very quickly. You never know what's around the corner.
Did the illness put a lot into perspective for you?
Yeah. Mid-2014, I had a little lump in my neck, and I went to the doctors. The doctor took one look at it and rushed me in and then took a biopsy, and then said, it came out that I got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a form of blood cancer. I remember I was driving to a place down the road with my daughter, and all I could think of was that, maybe I'm not going to see my daughter grow up. It was that was the hardest moment. And then there was a John Legend song come on called All of Me, and that sort of triggers me when it comes on. When I think about having cancer, people do die from it, so having faced that and then you come out the other side, I wouldn't be what I am now without that. And this is the whole point, actually, that this money thing means nothing. So it's not, I know that beyond anything, it's irrelevant.
How are we doing, guys?
I suppose really I went into overdrive with, if you think of the Legends Tour, if I'd have gone back to that moment, and this is quite interesting because when you have chemotherapy, I think it's pretty normal. You go to a hospital, and I was at the Royal Marsden, and the chemo was in this blue chair. There's a horrible feeling about a blue chair and chemotherapy, actually. But if I could have taken myself back to that moment in time with that blue chair and imagined what I'd do, or what I'd done in another 10 years of my business career, and then going forward to think about what I've done with golf and what I'm doing there, then it's like pretty special, really. So maybe I've done more because of that, because you realise that life is finite.
That's it, come and leave me alone now. I need to play some golf.
That's why you're driven to do as much as you can whilst you're here. And that's why, at the end of the day, if I lose a bit of money on the Legends Tour, whilst it's getting there, it's not the end of the world because I might not have been here. I know what I'd prefer. It's brilliant to see these guys do well, and to think that they're living their dreams through the Legends is a really big tick for me.
Golf's a funny game, isn't it? You're one swing away from retirement and you're one swing away from winning a golf tournament.
If you think about those underdog stories, I sort of resonate a lot with that.
5 spots to get on the tour, it's the golden ticket.
I think it was quite an emotional moment for him and for all the players around him.
I'll be in tears, I know that, but just the perfect time to say goodbye.
You're a legend, you are.